Yeah, it ain't gonna be I'm not the cool parent that, you know, she gonna be spending the night over with Ollie, or my daughter I know is gonna be spending the night, and they you know, they come in the house and they go up in the room and they close the door type stuff. Like, never.
So disrespectful.
You know, I'm not that progressive. Like, nah, y'all I hate to say it, but y'all gonna sneak on that couch while I'm upstairs just like I had to do. I'm sorry.
Tell me more, Razi. Tell me more, bro.
Y'all got to jump to opposite ends of the couch when y'all hear me coming down the stairs. Like,
What up? It's Three Brothers, No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson, a.k.a. Ferg. Join my co-hosts, Razi and Buff. Fellas, tell them what's on your mind.
Man, I'm just in awe at Moneybag Joe. His little address to the joint, what is it? A joint session. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't State of the Union, right? But it was. Yeah, so he just decided, you know, I want to make a big deal out of some stuff and pull everybody together, you know, flex a little bit. But it was a really good speech, man. I like what he was saying. And from the results, I think a lot of people did. I think even Republicans were like 60% on board with most of the stuff that he said. You know, the folks who watched, not the actual Republicans in the Senate, because they wouldn't even stand up for half of it. But that's normal. But it was just a historic moment, right? When he got up there and said, Madam Vice President, Madam Speaker. You know, it's the first time any president ever was able to say that. So that was really, really cool this week. And other than that, man, I want the family folks out there.
Hold on,
if you're looking for something to watch with the kids.
Before you go too far, Razi, isn't that kind of what I think you, Buff, and Razi have been saying in the past, that we need more of the Democrats to do? When things are going good, they need to capitalize on their accomplishments and brag and highlight it rather than kind of downplay it. So I was kind of like, oh, this nigga letting his hang.
Right.
Yeah, they should have. That's the one page from Trump they should have taken. And kind of Bush. Bush kind of did that as well. Like Republicans in general. Democrats need to do that more and stop taking the high road all the time.
So was this a first step in that?
We'll see. I hope so. But I will say this, because I think Razi agrees with me on this. Republicans, I think, are routinely the better party when it comes to politics. But I was surprised they kind of dropped the ball. Like they had Senator Tim Scott, who got flamed by Black Twitter, by the way. Senator Scott, that's my man. He's come on the other podcast a couple of times. But when I heard that he got picked to do the response, I was like, oh, they gonna torch him. And they did. But I was surprised the party missed out on that. They should have had Trump do the response. Like, he still is the Republican Party. You got people like Nikki Haley that on January 6th was like, we never should have followed him, this, that, and other. Now she's saying, oh, I would never run against him. If he wants to run, I definitely would not run against him. Like, they're still afraid of him. It's still his party. So fully embrace it. Let him shine. He hasn't been on Twitter. He hasn't been on TV for real. More people probably would have watched that than Biden's joint address. So I'm just surprised they missed this big opportunity, because this would have been a big deal for them.
But they're trying to distance themselves from it officially. That's the thing. They're playing both sides. Yeah. So, you know, what do? You put your token up there and say, you know, hey, Black people, I've experienced racism, but America ain't racist. What? Come on now. Come on. I was looking at that like, Tim, let's be real about this. So, yeah.
So, are you going to call him? Can you call
Buff can't.
Byron, I know that's your man's. Can I call him Uncle Tim?
That's the new one. That's it right there. Uncle Tim.
Uncle Tim.
Man. Yeah.
What I miss? What's going on?
Yeah, man. Yeah, we had to say some stuff, while you were gone.
Okay.
But on top of that, man, no, I was about to kind of just talk about. I was about 5 minutes late jumping on with you guys. I was watching a movie with the kids. Ollie picked it. It's a new movie on Netflix called The Mitchells versus the Machines, and it is freaking awesome. Like, it is a good little cartoon movie to watch with the kids. Family friendly, super fun. Just everything that you want in a family movie right there. It's entertaining even for the parents. It's like socially conscious. It's about basically, phones and technology coming trying to take over the world, and the family got to kind of, fight it or whatever. But it's a really, really fun movie to watch with the kids. So check that out if you haven't watched it already. I think everybody will enjoy it.
Hey, speaking of Senator Tim Scott, though, he was one of the members that George Floyd's brother and Benjamin Crump and Bakari Sellers met with to discuss police reform. And I bring that up because I got a chance to exchange words with George Floyd's brother. And I don't know what to say. I can't say I just was like, man, that was a big relief for a lot of the country. And he agreed. But I can't say congratulations because, his brother's still going. So it was kind of awkward for me. I don't know if it was awkward for him, but it was cool, meeting him and someone who is related to the late George Floyd and how big that case was. But I started off serious the last 2 episodes, so I'm going to go a little light. I don't know if you brothers saw this. What the hell was Tyrese doing on Instagram? Did y'all see that? Y'all don't know?
No,
but he hasn't been.
I don't follow Tyrese.
But he's been scrolling up on Instagram in that past, so I can only imagine.
I don't know if maybe I could be old fashioned. Maybe this is the new thing. But he was shaving his girl's vagina on IG Live. And okay.
Hold on, maybe that was a typo.
What's up? What you got, Ferg?
How?
Okay, and listen, he wasn't just shaving it. I know some women that want to defend it, want to be like, well, that could be how they get. The way he was shaving it was almost like how you can't quite get something, so you start doing it it looked kind of bad. But his girl was taking on for him. She was like, y'all need to get y'all a man that'll shave your vagina. And I'm like, okay, you can have a man that shaves your vagina, but do you got to show the world? So, but, we might post it on our page on Instagram, 3 Brothers No Sense. Check that out this week. It'll probably be on there because we here for the shit.
Yeah. So Tyrese has just hit rock bottom, I guess, at this point.
Man,
he has a nice movie coming out. Was Fury? What number are they on now? 10? 9?
9?
Yeah,
9. I think. Yeah.
Oh, I forgot. That is the only thing saving him.
Yeah, he's an Avenger.
Yeah, I think that they've officially announced they're going to go through 12 and be done. Jesus. I think is what they said.
Why stop now?
Yeah, they said they're launching basically a new trilogy, and that's going to be it. So after Fast 9, they'll have a trilogy.
After 12 episodes, it's just that's freaking ridiculous, right?
They got a season of movies.
Yeah, so I don't know. So did you guys see the arguably at one point the most attractive woman on the planet? Kind of just I don't know. Halle Berry. Did you see her whole?
Yeah, I saw that. I saw pictures of it at least.
People were.
I don't even know what y'all talking about. I've been so busy with work. I have no idea what's going on.
She was at the Oscars, and I mean, whoever her stylist was just. She looked dated, older. I've never seen her look like that since losing Isaiah, and I mean, people were just. Just.
Oh, I saw that. I did see that picture of her.
Yeah, just like, whoa, what is going on? So. I don't know what's going on in her world, but she's always, even after everything she's been through, she always kind of had a certain elegance about herself. And to see her like that kind of was like, man, I felt old. Just because when Halle starts looking like that, Halle, how do you say her name?
Halle.
Yeah.
Maybe she was, channeling her inner Monsters Ball or, Baps. So, don't forget, she did some Ratchet type movies too. So,
yeah, but that was just horrible. But no, man, overall, tiring week. Getting ready for Miami, ready for that trip to start. You guys ready?
Man, am I?
So I'm always looking forward to being in the same time with y'all, man. So it should be a good time.
Yeah, all right.
Oh, yeah.
So I got to ask, Buff, before we started, you started talking about putting a drink together. What did you decide on?
Kamikaze. And I can also make a blue kamikaze because we have some blue. I'm not gonna pronounce it. Curricle? Whatever.
I can never say it either.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. that blue.
Yeah, the blue shit. What are you drinking, Razi?
Oh, I got water. I'm on water tonight.
How was that Michael B. Jordan movie, Razi?
Man, it was good. It was good. Yeah. Without Remorse, for the listeners, man. It's really good. It's one of the Tom Clancy movies. So, it's one of those things, man. Normal Tom Clancy plot, right? Or Alex Cross, or I can't remember the whole series or whatever it is. But, special forces guy goes, does a mission, comes back. The people retaliate, kill his family, and he got to go out and figure out how to get them back. So if you just want some action, but it's good acting in it. Good action, good scenes. The gunplay in it's pretty cool. So it's a good hour and a half, 2 hours of your day.
Okay. Did you finish watching? Falcon
and the Winter Soldier?
No.
Shadow and Bone.
Yeah, Shadow and Bone. Did you?
Oh no! I'm still on like episode 3. I got sidetracked. Like I said, I've been super slammed this week, so I literally today has been the first day I've been able to sit down and actually watch anything since for the week. So yeah, I'm gonna finish that up, binge that this weekend. And just kind of talking about upcoming for the weekend, man, Jenica, I want to shout out her one time because she actually is posthumously graduating tomorrow from the University of Alabama.
That's what's up.
I'm going down there. Yeah, I'm going to walk and get her degree for fashion, apparel, and textile design.
Oh, that's dope.
So I'll be walking across the stage. I'm hoping they'll let me bring the kids across the stage too, but we'll see when I get there. I got to talk to them and see how that's going to work. But yeah, it's going to be cool. It's live streamed, and by the time this dropped, it already happened. But for you two, it'll be live streamed. I'll share the link or whatever.
Oh, congratulations! That's
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it.
So you're drinking water. You have a kamikaze. I did a French connection.
Well, I haven't made the kamikaze yet. This is apple pie moonshine right here. My bad.
Oh, so I'm
making the kamikazes after.
Okay, you warming up.
So. You fancy.
He always been fancy. So, you ready for us, Razi? You got anything or?
You want your joke?
Yeah.
Wise? Yeah. No. I'm gonna let Sophie get it. Hold on. Let me go grab her.
Why she don't got the headphones?
He had a brain fart.
Hello. How's it going, Sophie?
Good.
I heard you just watched a really good movie.
Yeah.
Should I watch it?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna take your word for it. I'm gonna watch it with Skylar this weekend. Okay.
Okay. Ollie and Daddy said it was a really good movie, and I watched like a little bit of the end.
Because every time we ask Sophie to come watch a movie with us, she'd be like, "I'll watch it later," and she never comes to watch it. But then she got into it when she walked downstairs. She was like, "What's this?"
She sounds like
how, Sophie? You about to have me watch a movie that you didn't even watch?
Hey, they told me it was good.
Did you enjoy the parts you saw?
Yeah, I enjoyed the parts I saw a lot. And Ollie said the last fights were the best fights, and I watched the best fights.
Okay, well, don't spoil it for me like Ollie does. So, I heard you got a good joke for us, and your joke last week was awesome, Sophie. So, can you follow it up with another great joke?
I think I can.
I think you can too.
What do you call a gummy bear with no teeth?
A gummy bear. And so,
still awesome. Still awesome. Yeah.
It would have been a really good joke if I had just remembered not to say the gummy part.
Yeah. What do you call a bear with no teeth, Sophie?
A gummy bear.
A gummy bear. All righty. We might have to get you got another one?
Okay. Yeah, we got another one. I had a friend who couldn't pay his water bill.
So what did he do?
So I sent him a get well card. I don't get it.
Get well? You know how you dig wells for water?
Yeah.
Adorable. Adorable. That was a good one, Sophie. The gummy bear was better. You messed that one up. You gotta work on it.
Yeah.
We got a twofer today.
I said gummy bear too soon.
Said it too soon. There's a lot of pressure, Sophie. That was a hard act to follow. I put too much pressure on you.
Bye-bye.
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 The cognac is called Golden Watt. So it's he was in Houston. He has I think it was like 10 or 12 spec stores that he was able to get it in. So we were able to buy some and support him.
Nice.
And I'm not really a cognac drinker, so. All right. Anybody want to go first, or you want me to kick it off?
You got it. You've been deferring to us. If you want to jump to it,
brother.
Okay. So my post, my question. I'm gonna start with this. So both of you guys went to the prom. You went to prom junior year, senior year, or just senior year?
Just senior year for me.
Both.
Okay. Both. So my question is, we got this from another group, so I want to give them credit.
With all due respect.
Yeah, so another funny group, funny podcast. But the question was pretty much posed, if your son came to you the day of the prom and asked for money to get a room after the prom for him and his date to have sex, what would you do? And why?
Well,
you see the silence. This is a hard one.
I would give him the money for the room because I have a double standard when it comes to parenting, and the late Jennifer, she fussed at me about this during our live show back in 2019. She fussed at me about that, but you know, what they say, God is still working on me. So, but I realized that I've always known that I would have a slight double standard if I had a boy, and you know, he would definitely have more freedoms. But I definitely would, you know, you always want to tell him to be safe, make sure it's consensual, all that good stuff like that. But yeah, I probably would.
So you have a daughter too.
But flip side, flip side of that.
So you have a daughter too. You know I was going to come with it. I wasn't going to just make it that easy. You have a daughter too. First of all, you feel cool about me giving my son money to get a room with your daughter after the prom. Would you give your daughter that money, and why not? And I guess your answer was
no to both. Yeah, no to both. Yeah, that's
because of your double standard. Flat out, just know it's a double standard.
Yes, absolutely.
So what if she didn't have to pay for it? So can she just stay out late because my daddy Razi gave his son money? Did she have a curfew prom night?
Yes, she has a curfew prom night. Absolutely.
I mean, we all had a curfew prom night. Mm-hmm. We got them back.
Ferg didn't have a curfew. Ferg didn't have a curfew.
Ferg didn't have curfews ever.
Hey, this ain't about me. This ain't about me.
I had one senior year. I don't know if it was a set time, but it was like it's understood. I can't come walking in the house at 6 a.m. Like come home at night. Put it like that.
I think I had like a 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, I was with Allison both years. So we knew, like, families knew each other or whatever. So my mom already knew she had a 12 o'clock curfew. So, like, my mom was like, all right, she got a 12 o'clock, get her back at 12, and then you got to drive back. So I had a 1 o'clock curfew. That was kind of give me leeway there just a little bit, make sure I can get back on time. So I had a 1 o'clock. But I'm going to say no. And truthfully, I have that double standard, same as Byron, unfortunately. I really wouldn't mind Ollie getting the room, and I probably would mind Sophie and Haley getting the room, but I'm not paying for it. Like, I'm not. It's one of those things that if you're doing it, you're doing it, but I'm not going to encourage it.
I got to co-sign that too. I definitely forgot about that part. Yeah, I'm paying for it. Yeah, I don't know about that. Like,
you talking about for your son either? You're not paying for your son, or you just?
Nah, I'm not giving that dude no money for that.
I'm sorry, nigga. You should have planned better.
I worked at McDonald's. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Like, you need to go out. Like, yeah. I was slanging office furniture at Office Max. Like, I was doing my thing so I can make these bills. We were in the military. I had my drill checks coming in still.
Great
senior year.
Great point, Razi. You don't deserve any of you. You knew prom was all year. Exactly. You been telling me you have no money? Nah, come on home. Come on home and watch CNN with your dad.
Exactly. You don't deserve it. That's my thing. Like, you can't pay for it. Like, you can't pay for the room.
So it's basically why are you paying for his?
Right.
Wow.
If anybody get in the room, it's me.
That's hilarious, bro. That's hilarious. So Razi, you call yourself pretty progressive, but you kind of took a step back.
No, I mean it is what it is. It's one of those things that it's the difference of what I envision, what I want, and society right now. Like, what, you got to know the lay of the land where you're at now, and we've talked about that a lot. So I know what that reputation can have with my daughter. I know what that can lead to with my daughter. I know it. The thing about it is that dude. If y'all slip up and y'all end up having sex and you get pregnant, that dude, it's a 50-50 chance he gonna be there after that. Like, and all that. So
you gave him more credit.
That's
now.
my thing. So that's a little bit of why, like, I'm not gonna encourage it with Ollie, but the thing is, if he's doing it, I mean, I can enforce that he's going to be in that child's life, and I can enforce that he's gonna be, a stand-up dude about it. Whereas I can't do that with Sophie if some dude decide he ain't really trying to beat her.
So it all comes down to her getting pregnant or not that he's just,
smashing my daughter. Yeah, I mean, it's that. Like, if my daughter is to the point where, because when I have the conversation with the kids about sex and, give them the birds and the bees talking stuff like that, I'm not one of those parents that's like, abstinence is the only way. Because I understand that kids are going to make that choice themselves. So I'm going to give them the full gambit of it and be like, I would prefer you not to have sex. And this is for both of them. I prefer you not to have sex. I don't want you to have sex because of all the other things, pregnancy, STDs, all the stuff that comes along with that. But if you do, I need you to be safe. And so I'm having that conversation with both of them. So that's the progressive side of me having that conversation. And like I said, if it comes down to, I find out Sophie's having sex, then I'm like, are you wrapping it up? Whatever. I don't feel like I'm just going to be blowing up and be like, oh my God, I'm not going to call my daughter a hoe for having sex. You know what I mean? You say, wow, but there are people out there that do that to their children. They found out their daughter's having sex and all of a sudden she's a prostitute. Like, because she's had sex with one guy. And that just pushes them further and further down that road. And so, no, I'm not going to do that. I mean, I'm going to tell them I'm disappointed or whatever. I wanted you to wait, yada, yada, yada. But it is what it is. We got to roll with what we get.
So let's take us out the picture, because I know we were all upstanding young men in high school and we were dating very, very proper young women. So let's say your kids are sexually active prior to prom. Does that make a difference? If you know that Ali is sexually active with his girlfriend or his prom date way before prom, or same with Sophie. She's been sexually active with this guy for a while. Is prom night any different now, or is it just the same? Like, I'm not doing it for this one night. I'm not paying for it.
I will never condone my daughter having sex in high school. Like, even if I know what's going on, it's not something I'm going to ever encourage. And we've already established I'm not paying for the room, son, daughter, no matter what. So glad Razi pointed that out. So yeah, even with my son, even if I know they're getting down like that, yeah, it's no difference. No difference. Even if I know.
Yeah, it ain't gonna be I'm not the cool parent that, she gonna be spending the night over with Ali, or my daughter I know is gonna be spending the night, and they come in the house and they go up in the room and they close the door type stuff. Like, never.
So disrespectful.
I'm not that progressive. Like, nah, y'all I hate to say it, but y'all gonna sneak on that couch while I'm upstairs just like I had to do. I'm sorry.
Tell me more, Razi. Tell me more, bro.
Y'all got to jump to opposite ends of the couch when y'all hear me coming down the stairs.
You were sneaking on a couch in college?
We've all done that.
This high school or college, bro.
This was high school. College, it went on.
Bro, you were sneaking on the couch in high school?
Yeah,
shame.
Yeah, bro. Man, whatever. Me and Allison left prom early because we were like, "Look, you got a 12 o'clock curfew. We gotta get it in."
That's crazy.
I don't remember that, bro. I shut the prom down, bro. I think I might have helped clean up and all that good stuff.
12 o'clock curfew. We got somewhere to be.
We picked up food on the way. We was like, we ain't going to eat. Like, Applebee's, nah. We going. I think we picked up like Wendy's or something like that. Like,
that's crazy.
we had things to do.
Wow, bro. Wow, bro. I thought I knew you better than that, sir.
I think I need to call Allison and make sure she okay with this episode.
I think the statute of limitation has passed, sir.
No, that was 23 years ago down there.
Yeah. So
22.
I'm with both of you guys as far as I'm definitely not paying for it. It's for one, I'm never encouraging my kids to have sex. I want them to be open about their sexuality. I want them to, I'm not going to discourage it, but I'm not going to be the person like, oh yeah, tonight's the night. That's not for me. And if that's something you're going to do, if you feel like you're mature enough to have sex, you need to be mature enough to afford or take care of the things that need to happen. And I think part of it is how sexually active are they? I know a lot of times we put a lot of pressure on, or that, you see TV and movies where prom is at night, people lose their virginity and all that stuff. And so I don't know what their case would be, but I don't want to pay for my son taking advantage of somebody's daughter that night. That's the night they do that, or I don't, or vice versa with my daughter. I'm not encouraging it. If they are, we brought up curfews. I don't know how I'm going to be about curfews. Like you said, I didn't have a curfew. I don't know if that was just because my mom had a lot going on. She was just very free because she came from a large family and she saw that what happens when you try to be too strict. I don't know if it was just faith in me. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's just I didn't ask. I don't know how I would have responded to a curfew anyway. I forgot I didn't have a curfew until you guys mentioned it. I just never, and I can't think of a time I don't think I've had a curfew at all throughout high school. I just came home because everybody else had to come home. And I wasn't looking to stay out all night or overnight. It was just like, if everybody else was going home and I didn't have a car, so Razi's curfew was at 10, I'm getting dropped up at 9:45. But I think that you hit on something, Razi, about having that sex talk early. So I don't think it begins prom night. I want to have that talk with both of my kids about sex and their readiness and the being careful, not just the STDs and pregnancy. It's, are you emotionally ready for this? Are you putting more into yourself, too much into this and losing part of yourself on this? How sprung on you over this person? You know, how much control does their sex have over your life, or this person have over your life? I still want you to be you and not get lost in this, because we've seen that when certain people become sexually active, their whole life revolves around it. So for prom is just one thing. I'll never encourage my kids. I'll never pay for my kids or set up a situation where it's going to make it easier for them to have sex. But it is what it is. Prom night, I had to look at I think it also looks at the kids are individuals. You know, at right now, Sky seems like she's way more mature than TJ is, even though there's an age gap. But Sky at 2 and TJ at 2, completely different things. Sky might not have a curfew. TJ might have to have a curfew because TJ will get in trouble staying out all night, you know? So it's backwards, you know? I could see TJ getting in a lot more trouble based off their personalities today than Sky would. So.
And that's always the hard part about parenting, is that you can't parent your kids the same. And kids hate that, but it just really does depend on personalities, how much trust they've built with the parent. You have to treat them differently. You can't parent them the same.
Yeah, when I saw the post, it was funny. A lot of the responses, especially the guys, a lot of people that said no. I will say that, but for the few that said yes, was, well, man, I got to ruin my prom night, and I did this and this. So they're almost encouraging that same behavior because it happened to me. I'm gonna, it's almost like a tradition, and I'm a firm believer that sometimes you have to look at those traditions or the things that you normalize and figure out how normal or how productive it is or positive it is. So.
Truthfully, I think it is. I think it is a tradition, and I'm okay with it being a tradition. But along that lines, I think part of that tradition is I worked for it, I did it, I'm paying for it, I'm doing this, kind of coming into my adulthood or whatever. I feel like that goes back to the whole I'm not paying for it, because it's like if you're adult enough to do it, then you're adult enough to, like we said, pay for it.
Okay, let's talk about it. So, because you were sexually active in high school, come to find out.
This guy.
So, what made prom any different than any other night? Like, what made you feel like you had to get a room on this night? I'm going to assume you had a room before. I'm going to assume. And you had sex with this young lady before. I'm going to assume. But there was a certain level of, is it maturity or is a certain level of pressure that we felt like this is what you're supposed to do prom night? Like, because of this tradition this time-honored tradition, you might probably smash the night before the prom, the day after the prom.
Night of the prom or day of the prom before. But either way it goes, it's like, I think it's, like you say, that I don't know if it's pressure, but it's that same thing on anniversary or whatever, when you're married or birthdays and stuff like that. It's one of, it's a day. It's like, it's one of those days that you kind of, you go above and beyond and do the little extra. So it wasn't just, I got a room and so we going to smash in the room. You did the flowers in the bed, and you had the candles and all of that stuff. Like I did, I went above and beyond on prom night. So it wasn't just like dude. We got a room so we can do something. Like
that's what's up, man. Proud of you, bro.
y'all didn't do nothing extra.
I went home, bro.
Me and Tabitha have been dating and messing around since ninth grade. That prom night wasn't nothing special. I watched some of the Utah Jazz playoff game that night. You talking about? Shit. Yeah, I remember.
Bro,
I think they were playing Sacramento.
You get worse than Razi about putting your foot in your mouth, bro. I plead the fifth. Next question.
I'll go.
You want it, Buff?
Yeah, I think I'll go because it'll be short. It's actually like a part two to your, I think it was your question, Razi. You asked, was Disney overrated? So we all know Marvel is a part of Disney. And, you know, they did those 20 plus movies in 10 years from Iron Man all the way up to Endgame, which I maintain. Bun B said this first, and I agree wholeheartedly. It's the greatest story ever told in cinema history, from Iron Man all the way to Endgame, and how they brought it all together. And now we got the Disney Plus shows and more movies coming out. And I see they have even more shows coming. Like I think Hawkeye's going to have a show. What is just a ton of different new shows.
Ironheart is one I'm really excited about.
Yes. So my question is, we all agree that Disney was not overrated. Now, we know Starbucks is probably the most successful coffee shop we ever heard of. McDonald's is a successful fast food chain. But they both at one time or another stretched themselves too thin to where they had to close down a couple of stores because it was just too many. It was way too many. Like, there was literally like Starbucks damn near next door to each other at one point. So is there any chance that Marvel can kind of overdo it with all the shows, all the movies and everything that's coming? Is there a chance that people may just get a little tired of it and start to pull back from being such fans of the MCU in particular, not necessarily the comics, but just the MCU?
You want to go first, Razi, because you're going to give the expert answer. So
sounds like your answer about to be quick.
Yeah. So I think for me, of course they can. Of course, too much of anything can happen. It's how greedy and how strategic will they be with it. And from what I've seen, they have a great strategy. Because this is unlike McDonald's, unlike Starbucks. We're talking about a comic book universe where there's so many different possibilities. I mean, you can tell the same Spider-Man story 1,000 times. It depends on who is the writer. It changed. We've had three, four different versions of Spider-Man alone. Take the MCU out of it. Just 3-4 different variations of Spider-Man. And they're all different stories. It's almost the same story, but told different ways. And it still sells out. They still break bank. I think the fact that they spilled over into the TV shows gives them the ability to almost do more with less. So these TV shows, they can kind of just sprinkle a little in, give you what you want, and not overload the big cinematic world, the big theater world with a big production. I think their strategy is ingenious. I mean, because what's crazy about the MCU is they've only scratched the surface. Fantastic Four hasn't been there. You haven't gotten into any of the X-Men. Yeah, I mean, there's so many different little spin-offs and these crazy characters that just, you go back into space and you start getting into Celestials. I mean, we've scratched the surface. And to think about the Avengers, this was based off the Avengers. The Avengers was not the most popular group in the Marvel universe. Mm-hmm. So I would have said, in comics, correct me if I'm wrong, you'll probably go X-Men, Fantastic Four, then Avengers when you think about popularity. And we're talking about the Avengers. People weren't trying to be Captain America growing up. Razi and I used to joke about Captain America. You know, nobody wanted to be Black Widow or Hawkeye. They made 20 movies off of these people. Iron Man, like, dude, if they can do the Fantastic Four right, it's over. Mm-hmm. It is over because you have a whole slew of different villains. I mean, you started getting into
Doom, Galactus, all like I'm just excited if Dr. Doom comes. Like, if they get Fantastic Four right, bruh, it's on. Like, their stories are actually really, really. It's funny. Fantastic Four is probably more rooted in like real life because it's more about science, right? So it could be a more homegrown and not fantastical thing like that, kind of like what Iron Man felt like, where it's like, okay, I can be Iron Man, I just got to be smart and have a whole bunch of money, right? I don't have to be a super soldier, I don't have to, be a god, anything like that. But
and they just picked up Spider-Man. Really, they've only scratched the surface of Spider-Man because Doc Ock hasn't even popped up. Imagine Doc Ock in the MCU. Or, it's so many characters. And
Green Goblin. Like Peter Parker is probably the best superhero, hands down, in Marvel. And so when they get to like deep down into Peter's stories, bruh,
he's so young.
It's going to be so
and he's
great.
Young. It's a perfect. So if they play it right, I'm excited about Young Avengers. Dude, there's just so many different ways they can go. To you,
West Coast Avengers, they're already starting to kind of go that way with the West Coast Avengers. So
the thing about it, they have a whole universe. So it could be, you might not go to any more Avengers movies, but you might only go to the Fantastic Four world. Like you might only visit that. It's dude.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, man. To answer your question, definitely they can. There's a possibility. They actually did it with their comics, right? Mm-hmm. Like at one point they were producing 2 or 3 different comic books for every character. You had X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, Giant Size X-Men. Like there were different line comics for the same one. They split the X-Men into X-Men Red and X-Men Blue, like the teams at one point, because the X-Men just got too large for one single comic book. And then there was like a downturn. People stopped reading and they almost went bankrupt. Like that literally is the reason why Spider-Man is owned by Sony and why the Fantastic Four was owned by Fox, is because to keep the lights on, they sold off characters to just get money. So they definitely could do that. But like Ferg was saying, Feige has such a good plan, and even though it feels like it's a lot, you have to think it's all linear. And so they're telling a single story, just telling it from different character perspectives every time. And so that's kind of the cool part. So you get a sprinkling of the Avengers, and then you'll get a Spider-Man, and then you'll get, a single. So it might feel like it's a lot from the MCU, but it's really not when you think about, okay, I got Black Widow's story, then I got Spider-Man's, and then I got Thor's, and then I got Iron Man's, and, so I don't think that's an issue. And going into the series on Disney Plus, it's because they can actually tell stories over 6 episodes, an hour a piece. You got basically a 6-hour movie you get to tell. So you get to get way deeper into the plot and everything, and you get to flesh out things that you really can't do in a movie. Mm-hmm. And because people are so vested in the MCU at this point, I don't have to go into my movie and try to explain all that backstory. I literally can pick up and go. And if you don't understand, you can go watch that other stuff, but I'm not going to retell this stuff in my first act.
Plus they're able to take lesser known characters, build them in, that help build the whole story. Because would you have gone to see Falcon and the Winter Soldier in the theater? Them doing that or as a 2-part series might have been too much. That could have been I felt like it was a great show. I don't feel like it was enough to be movies, or WandaVision enough to be movies, but it did a lot for the MCU, did a lot to set up the future of the MCU, and it was needed. But it's like those things as individual movies could have been the death of the MCU. Them trying to do that to Falcon and the Winter Soldiers and WandaVision, you're like, man, they didn't struck out these last 2 movies, dog. It is, and now they're scrambling.
And that's what's crazy, because they haven't always gotten it right. I think because they're so high now, people think it's all. Remember, they was getting heavily criticized for not having any good villains. Like their best villain was Loki for a long time, and then Killmonger came, and then Thanos came and just shut it all down. So. It seems like what you guys are saying is that at a certain point, Marvel can almost be like, I know it already is its own movie studio, but you can kind of look at it like a New Line Cinema. So like New Line Cinema did Friday, they did Menace to Society. Those two movies have nothing to do with one another, but they're still under New Line Cinema. You can go see a Marvel movie, you watch Avengers, and then you go watch, like you say, Fantastic Four or something, and they may not necessarily have anything to do with one another, but it's still under Marvel. Therefore, you're not feeling like they're stretching themselves thin because they're doing completely different things, but still keeping you entertained.
And
man,
yeah, but even with that, like that New Line Cinema thing, it's like they all had that Cali feel to them, though.
They did. They really did.
Like,
yeah.
you know, you still feel like you're in kind of the same area. I feel like, you know, that could be happening. Like Minister Society could be happening on one block, and Boys in the Hood could be happening on the other block at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, type thing. So and that's how I feel like the MCU is done it. So Feige just, I mean, he had it, and when Netflix had their shows, I could see why Feige was like, no, I don't want anything to do with the movie or the television group, because y'all won't let me have complete control over it. So I'm not going to try to incorporate it and try to work with y'all on it. Either I'm going to control it all so I know what's happening and I can plan it out, or you do your thing and it ain't got nothing to do with me. And so that's really why the Defenders was great, but it just really wouldn't have worked with the MCU. And I see why they didn't bring them in.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing about it is, like you said, Byron, they'll eventually link up somehow. That's what's so cool. So you can watch an Avengers movie and then watch 2 Fantastic Four movies, and only the true fans will start connecting the dots like, oh, I see how this is going to connect. You know, and then all of a sudden,
like, oh, that general was in the other movie, and so that's how they're gonna like link up. Yeah,
they'll fly over the Fantastic Four Tower, and you might just see a flash go off, and it's like, oh, shit, that might have been, you know, the Human Torch, and whatever that was will connect that 3-4 movies down the line. It's just almost like real life. Like leading up to this podcast, we all had individual weeks, but at the end of the day, it ended up here. So if they followed us all around all week, we would have 3 different stories to tell that all ended up here. And that's what the MCU does so well. Like you go back and you're like, oh, that's why they made an art where they say, watch the movies in this order. It makes this much sense. And you know, it's ingenious, dude.
Yeah, it's never been, at least for this amount of time, it's never been done before. And that's the incredible part about it to me. Like, yeah, and so many people have tried, right? Like Universal has tried it with their Monster Universe. DC tried and failed. You know, now they have like 7 different universes, which, you know, multiverse is cool. They try to make it seem like it's okay to have so many different ones, but it still doesn't make sense to us. Like, no, you have freestanding movies. Really, is what you have. So, fun question, man. Like the input on that. Yeah. So now, since we're talking about movies and television and all that, I think I want to stick to this because, you know, I nerd out on this type of stuff. So I saw a meme or something like that, or I think it was just a post on Facebook, and it was a question asking, it was like, you know, which one was better, Snowfall, Wire, or Empire? Oh, dear God. So I'm going to pose that to you guys because Snowfall just finished out. The series just finished out this season. Empire? Well, they had it in there. My question is, no, I'm not even putting Empire in this conversation. Thank you.
You know, I've never even looked at it. Like, I've never even watched it, so I don't know what Empire is. But Snowfall or The Wire for you guys? Which one is better and why?
The Wire, and here's why. Just think about this. In season 1, Franklin Saint was carrying around bricks of cocaine in his backpack, walking around at night. Okay, and he runs into a chick that's smoking crack who takes him to the man where he can like sell it or something like that. Like, it is some very, very like use your imagination type thing with that show. But don't get me wrong, I enjoy the show. It's a very good show. But to compare it to The Wire, like, It's almost unfair. It's unfair to Snowfall, to be honest, because Snowfall is a TV show. David Simon with The Wire did not want The Wire to be like a TV show. Like, to this day, he's pissed that HBO made him include the only flashback in the 5 seasons of The Wire. On episode 1, there's a flashback. That's the only flashback in the entire series, okay? And he didn't want that because he felt like his audience is smart enough to remember that the witness that testified at the beginning of the episode is the same person who was killed by the end of that episode, spoiler alert. So he didn't like that kind of TV type stuff. He didn't like, flashbacks and dream episodes and things like that. The Wire is almost like a documentary. If you ever watched The Corner, which he also was a part of, The Corner is pretty much The Wire. The Wire is pretty much the sequel to The Corner in a lot of ways. Like, it's truly like a documentary. So to compare it to Snowfall is almost unfair because they have to do that type of TV stuff because it's genuinely a TV show. So that's one of the reasons for me. I don't want to act like The Wire was like the perfect show. They definitely had, a couple episodes where it's like, but overall, to me,
and they also had season 2. They
had season 2, but season 2 is really it's actually good.
It's important. It's very important.
It's just that people wanted season 1, the string of bells story and stuff to carry on, but you need season 2 in order to complete the totality of what they were trying to tell. But Snowfall is really good, but I wouldn't even put it up there. Like, to me, I call The Wire the greatest show in TV history. I will entertain someone saying Game of Thrones was better. I will entertain someone saying even though I rewatched Breaking Bad, it's still great. Doesn't hold up to me as well as The Wire did, but Breaking Bad is a great show. So if anyone says no buff, Breaking Bad is better, Game of Thrones is better, I'll entertain that. The Snowfall, I'm not even, we can't talk. I'm gonna let you have that one. Like, you can talk and I'll just listen and just judge you in my mind.
I haven't watched the full season of either one. Well, not the full season, the full series. I piecemealed The Wire, and I don't know what the last season of Snowfall was that I watched. Maybe season 2.
It's 4th season now, right? Is it Razi?
Yeah. So I might have stopped with season 2 after season 2. I lose interest during breaks. Like, I think when I got on Snowfall, I was binge watching it, and then they went on break, and it's just like I just never picked it back up. And so, from what I saw, definitely The Wire. Like, you can't even compare them, even though I guess if you describe the shows to somebody, they would see a lot of similarities. But to me, they were so different. Can't even really compare them. I think it's almost apples to oranges. So, but The Wire just, I think, holds better. I've never gone back and just try to watch another, rewatch episodes of Snowfall.
Yeah, I would say the other main difference too is The Wire really, most people will tell you McNulty is the main character of the series, which is fair. But technically, they don't have that one main character. Like, McNulty is hardly in season 4, which is my favorite season. As opposed to Snowfall, it's about Franklin Saint. Like,
that might be the biggest. That might be what it is. It's a story about Franklin, and The Wire is almost like more real life, where you just see players in the game because that's how life is. Mm-hmm. If we're just following dudes around this neighborhood. Byron might be the hot thing right now, but next week, Byron did some time, and all of a sudden, you see Razi picking up, and then when Byron gets out, Razi's the hot shit. Like, The Wire was that. It was just, it kind of gave everybody the respect to show their part of their part in the whole game. But maybe one day I'll sit down and rewatch all of them.
So just like Razi can talk about Marvel all day, I can talk about The Wire.
I know you can.
Just one more thing.
Go ahead.
I love how The Wire just parallel to, like, remember we had the war on terrorism, and The Wire, it was so parallel to that because the first 3 seasons, they spend all their time and resources trying to catch Avon Barksdale. He's the most terrible thing. He kills witnesses that testify against him. You know, he has young kids working for him. He's just, we got to get him off the streets. We get him off the street, it'll be better. They get rid of Avon Barksdale, and Marlo pops up, who's 10 times worse. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't give a flying about anything. Okay, and that's just kind of like, it was like parallel to the War on Terror. Like, you know, we kill this guy and boom, like we kill Bin Laden, and then all of a sudden ISIS is the new big threat. You know what I mean? So I just thought that was cool, and just how everything affects the drug game, from the media to politics to how it got in to how the police chase it. And they make it, the way the police chase it, it makes it more fierce because the stakes are higher and, you know, a lot of lives on the line. So I'm going to be quiet because I can keep talking about The Wire. Go ahead, Razi.
Yeah. No. But going back to our comic book thing, like, what is it? It's Hydra, right? It's like cut one head off and two more come back. Like that. That literally is what was happening on The Wire. And so I think this is a clean sweep on this one too. I looked at that post and I was just like, this is no different than the Michael Jordan, LeBron GOAT conversation. Like, that you can't compare the two. Like, Michael Jordan is the GOAT and The Wire is the GOAT. It period. Like, we can follow Saint all day long, but you put the acting between both of them. The acting's better in The Wire for me. Cinematography's better to me in The Wire. Your storyline is better. Season 2, and like Byron said, I understand why season 2 had to be there. So looking at the totality of the series, it made sense looking back on it. You know, even though it was a slog to get through it, but when you look at those shows, they don't compare. Really, Snowfall is a really, really good show for the time right now. Mm-hmm. Is Snowfall going to go down in history 10 years from now as people are going to be like, man, let me go back and rewatch my annual watching of Snowfall? Like, people literally go and binge The Wire once a year sometimes. Yeah, like Buff. So, you know, it's one of those things that, and I agree, Buff, it's up there, you know, it's one of the Mount Rushmores of TV series. Like, you can't get around that. And I don't see Snowfall hitting that or ever hitting that. It's an interesting story. You know, the Franklin Saint, the kid who plays him, is a great actor. He's doing a good job, but you know, there's some annoying pieces to it too. The uncle gets on my nerves. He grinds my gears to no end, especially this last season. He was just annoying as I don't know what. You know, it's some of the stuff is just really unbelievable. Where in The Wire, like you said, it felt like a documentary. It really did feel like you could believe anything that was happening. Like, I could walk out, you know, in Mobile and see 20, 30, 40% of this happening on any given day.
Even with Franklin, spoiler alert, if you haven't watched Snowfall, just skip the next minute. Even with Franklin getting shot on season 3 at the end, you felt safe because you knew he was going to pull through because he's the main character. And until they decide to end the show, he's always safe. If you were a finger stringer bell, well, you know that ain't true in The Wire. If you were a fan of Prop Joe, that wasn't true. Bodie, wasn't true. Like, anybody could get it in The Wire, yo.
Yeah. Which is another reason I think what puts all of these shows, like the Game of Thrones was the same way, right? Game of Thrones is like anybody can get it. You watch saying who is going to get shot. Like, even, you know, back to spoiler alert, even when the aunt got shot. Mm-hmm. So when the aunt got shot, I kind of didn't think she was gonna.
I didn't realize what he was doing.
When she got shot, it was like I didn't feel like she was gonna pass away. Like, right. She was so integral to the story that I knew she was gonna pull it through. So it's one of those things, man, that it's too predictable, that it's not as intriguing as The Wire. So definitely The Wire for me too.
I just want to explain a post that I made a couple of years ago because people gave me flack for it. I made a post a couple of years ago saying that I hope Jon Snow got killed. And it's because of what Razi said, that anybody could get it in Game of Thrones, unless you were Jon Snow, who gets murdered and get brought back to life. And that just, I don't know why that annoyed me. So he was just on my hit list. So that's why people, like, I'm sorry, I know he was a lot of people's favorite character, but that's why I kind of wanted him to get it.
Mm-hmm. Aegon. We're going to call him Aegon.
Right. Oh, man. We good, Ferg.
Razi. I literally asked this fool, is it okay to come back? And I walk, as soon as I put my headphones on, he goes into spoiler alert number 2. So, was that your parting shot, Buff?
Oh, nah. I'll do my parting shot after Razi, unless you want me to go first, Ross.
You can. I really don't even have much to talk through, man.
Okay, well, this week coming up when this episode drops, so this Friday will mark the anniversary of my mother's passing, and I don't want to make it too sad. It's just that you guys know I told the show that she was the woman that, you know, I once told I wanted to die before her because I did not want to be on this earth without her. And you know what? As usual, she was right again. She corrected me on that. And going a year without her, it's been tough. I've definitely had my moments. You can ask my wife. Hell, I think I've called Razi like maybe 1 or 2 times over the year. So I appreciate you for that, by the way, brother. But, you know, I just do what I can to try to make her proud down here. And just continue to, because she loved my daughter so much, just continue to raise her the best possible way I can. So I just want to say I hope you're proud of me, Ma. I definitely miss you. You got Pops up there with you, and you got your my Aunt Yvonne up there with you now. So hopefully y'all not up there cussing and making too much noise in heaven. But definitely miss you down here. I love you, and rest in peace.
Man, yeah. Now I should have went before you, right?
Yeah, that's
my bad, man. My bad. But just know we here for you, bro. We love you.
Definitely, bro.
Definitely.
Along those same lines, man, I wanted to kind of share with everybody. Everybody knows that we're coming up on the last of the semester for a lot of college freshmen out there. This is like a really stressful time. It's finals week coming up. Parents, I know most of our folks are older. Our listeners are older. Parents, reach out to your kids, because I know kids are having existential breakdowns right now. They don't know if they can do it. They don't know if college is for them. They don't know, if they can work through it. And what brought this about? My boss actually has a freshman in college, and she was telling me that her daughter was kind of going through that, right? Like, I don't know if this is for me. I don't know if I can do it and everything. And then she told me that her daughter knew Jen. She used to model for Jen. And so she was like, Jen told her when they were just, on a site or whatever for a fashion show. And she was like, she didn't know what she wanted to do with her life. She didn't know if college was for her and everything like that. And you guys know Jen went to college, took some time off, and then went back. And she was, older student, an adult, student in college and everything. And what she was telling this young lady was, it's, you will know what is for you when it's for you. So don't be scared when you know what you want to do, and just go and take it. So parents, check on your kids. They're going through this right now. And give them that same advice that, if you know what you want to do, go get it. You can do it and see it through is all I got to say.
Well, both of you guys were very inspiring today. So I ain't have nothing but bull to talk about. So I'm just going to leave it right there. 3 brothers, no sense. Listen, like, share, subscribe, and comment. And most importantly, listen again. Talk to you next week.
Happy Mother's Day, ladies.
Happy Mother's Day.